As the days counted down to the biggest domestic fight for years, there was unrest in the camp of one of the protagonists, Derek Chisora. Behind closed doors, away from the cameras, a row after sparring had led to a furious exchange between Chisora and trainer Don Charles, ending with Chisora firing Charles. Was this simply the emotions of two impassioned people, or an irreparable void?
This is not a joke. This is real. This is tempers are on, and emotions are on edge, you know. It's called respect, no matter. I mean, I'm not a nutter.
If you don't argue with somebody, that means there's no passion there, isn't it?
You heard him, he said, I'm fired.
You know, people didn't see what happened, you know. We had a massive fight, a big fight. You know, people were in the gym that day thought, oh, it's finished. They're not gonna get back together after this.
When you guys left me that day, I felt there was a sadness inside me. Why must it come to that? Yeah, it shouldn't have to come to that, but it did.
I called him and said, you know what? Well, let's meet up. He came and met me. We spoke, I apologized, he apologized. But like, I'll see you tomorrow. It was fine. Next day we're in the gym arguing again.
We hugged, made up, and he said his reasons why, and I said my reasons. And hey, we're here, the show must go on.
Fun, I like it. I like fighting. I achieved my goals as a cruiserweight, you know, I was the world #1. That was always my ambition as a child, was to be the heavyweight champion of the world. I was that for a couple of years. Hoping Derek gives me a challenge. I hope he comes with something more than he has done in the past.
I've been 12 rounds 3 times. Never been shaken up. I don't like people taking their time, you know. No one does.
As an athlete, you need to have food to train, but as a coach, you need food for thought. And food for thought is slightly different to food for training. This is where you buy the food for thought. There's Mick, and he's got a weekly special. Got the Haye burger, which apparently needs a lot of bottle to eat it, and the Chisora burger that leaves a bad taste in the mouth. Not my words, Derek. His.
A constant presence by the side of David Haye is his manager and trainer, Adam Booth. Never afraid of speaking his mind, how does he analyse himself?
Trustworthy, obsessive, knowledgeable, smart actually, bad, handsome, smug, awkward, definitely awkward, aloof probably.
He's a complex character. He's somebody who likes to get it right. He'll be up studying opponents to crazy hours in the morning. He'll wake up in the middle of the night and start watching your opponent, watching weaknesses. He'll be scouring YouTube to watching my opponent on the pads and seeing if there's anything with his feet or his hands, if there's any twitches. he really does like to dot the I's and cross the T's and make sure that he doesn't leave any stone unturned.
I have no off button. I hate it. I can't find it. I've been searching for it for a long time. There's no off button. And when I become fixated on something, I really become fixated on it. If I'm trying to understand a fighter and how a fighter trains and what a fighter works on and their rhythm and stuff like that, I want to watch them in the gym, not in a fight, because it's what you do in the gym that ends up making the fighter. So I trowel through YouTube, looking for videos of anything I could see that give me little indicators. And along the way, I've seen things that I've used in strategies that have paid dividends in fights.
When Adam tells me something, I don't have to sort of second guess. He tells me, right then, Derek Chisora does this before he jabs, or he bobs this way before he bobs this way. I don't have to go and watch the video to say, okay, yeah, he does. I inherently trust his opinion on that.
In the gym, for me, nothing's ever good enough. It can never be good enough because it can never be perfect. So, although I can be happy at times with where it's at, for me, it can always be better. There's always a way. And I'm not just saying that to sound, oh, well, that's a bit of a strap line. It kind of ruins it for me sometimes because it stops me sitting back and being happy with where things are, because that's a relaxed frame of mind to be in. And I'd say that during, when it comes to training, I'm never really in a relaxed frame of mind because it's never good enough. The art of coaching is getting your point across where the person can understand it, using as few words as possible, and that's what I try and do.
While Haye and Booth go through their well-practiced routine at their gym in South London, across town, Chisora's trainer and mentor, Don Charles, gives an insight into his own mindset.
What sort of character am I? As I've gotten older, I'm kind of discovering myself in a way. There's a chameleon hidden inside me. I've become that chameleon where I'm able to adapt to different situations, different environments, and it's taken a long time for that character to start coming out. It came out late, but it's come out. And what triggered it off? Boxing.
My compadre. If you were falling down, if I was falling down, you will catch me. It's the same thing everybody with their trainers, they like, it's a relationship, You can never hear a fighter say, I don't like my trainer, or I hate him, he's a punk, or this and this, There's always that respect, trainer and a fighter.
People don't actually understand that it's a very complex sport. People think it's like all brute. No. When you stop and study and break it down, it's so complex, unbelievable. Until you try to do it, then you start to understand how complicated and how complex it is.
I know why I love the sport. I know why I fell in love with the sport. And I just keep trying to remind myself of that 13-year-old boy that I was and how I used to see it. I try and remind myself of that because when I do, I remember that as a kid, I saw it as it should have been seen, and as you get older and you're involved in the business, you lose your way slightly. And if anything, I probably had a clearer understanding of how to enjoy the sport when I was 13 than I do now. The plan for us is to take Derek into the second half of the fight and make Derek be the one to crack. Because you might be able to keep walking forward and plodding when guys' punches are scuffing over his shoulders and stuff like that. We're going to have to put it around topsy-turvy on him.
A meticulous student of the sweet science, Booth is never a man to go with convention within the training regime. Here he takes weights to Haye's wrists.
Normally to improve hand speed, but this time round it's to make David a pressure fighter in the second half of the fight, so his punch rate picks up as the fight goes on. With Derek, you can't just punch the same place because he moves his head, and you've got to prepare for him to either try and roll under it or to pull away from it. So you just keep adjusting the angle of the punching so that you get conditions to punch in and you need to on the fight night. I think the secret to any success is that you've got to be ready to make changes. You can't get stuck in your ways. And we've always tried to pride ourselves on the fact that we're prepared to change what we do. And we changed it by coming out of retirement.
Boys, we're gonna go. The trainers are here, but he will catch up with us anyway. I love running. I love running. I like running so much.
He knows what he's got to do, and he's doing it. It's all in the mind, you know. For a boxer at this stage, part of the run is a ritual. He gets to fight the fight, imagine the fight as he's running. So, you know, it keeps you occupied, keeps the mind occupied. And he would have, from the beginning to finish, he would have fought that fight about 100 rounds.
I like waking up at 4:30. I don't even set my clock on. My mind would just tell me it's time to wake up. When I wake up, I look, it's 4 o'clock. It's like getting ready.
Chisora, he always boxes in second gear in training. He never explodes. Leave it on the fight day. That's what you saw. What you saw there was just going through the motions, yeah? Everything is in the tank. There's no point burning the petrol before the actual event. A lot of people burn it out in the gym. On fight night, they don't bring it. Yeah, he's not a gym fighter. Yeah, he's not a gym fighter. Has never been a gym fighter. On the night, he showed what he can do.